Welcome to Knoxville, where we're beginning to install inflators on forklifts so they can begin to apply airbags in their loads, outbound and during relay. This is exciting because we've already tested these in multiple facilities, including Birmingham, Fulton, Memphis, Cincinnati, and even Tupelo. And we've had great feedback, and we've seen outbound exception ratios improve as a result of that. So now we want to bring more facilities on board. We're going to bring a total of 22 on board. And what that will do is allow those facilities not to have to drag as many wooden pallets into a trailer in order to fill the voids. That means that dunnage is always available because the airbag can be stored behind the seat of the forklift that the inflator is mounted on. Well, let me introduce you to the airbag first. This is the airbag we're using. It's a 36 by 36 airbag. And this is a very easy airbag that we can use. You'll also be receiving airbags from some of our shippers. Those are larger airbags, and the good news is our inflators also will work on those. So one thing you never want to do is puncture this airbag. We must reuse these airbags and keep them moving in order for them to be effective in our system. So we have 22 more locations that will have inflators installed at their facilities for now during the phase 1 of implementation. So what that means is that probably about 80% of you are going to start seeing these on your loads that you receive from these 22 locations. That means what we need to cover first is how do you deflate the bag? Whenever you receive a trailer load with airbags securing the freight, you're going to need to make sure you deflate it before removing it. You're not going to want to ever puncture these airbags because we need to reuse them in order to get the best return on our investment. Do not allow a fellow associate to puncture these airbags. It's very simple to release these. As you can tell, I can't pull this out because this has been installed correctly and created a bulkhead wall within the trailer. What I'll do is I'll pop the cap, and all I have to do is simply press this valve to release some air. And by doing so, I then can remove the airbag. And what I will want to do, and what I need to do, is depress the valve and turn 1/4 of a turn to the right. And by doing that, it'll allow a constant flow of air to be released from this airbag. I can lay this aside as I approach the other airbag. Begin the deflation process so I can remove it. And once again, depress the airbag valve and turn to the right 1/4 of a turn, and it is in locked down position. You then can continue to unload your trailer. Before starting your shift, you should grab 6 to 8 airbags and place them behind your seat. That way you always have dunnage available. As you're loading freight, always be aware of the voids that are being created from the unlike freight being loaded adjacent to each other. Top-loaded freight, or especially freight that's placed on pallet decks, will shift. So what the airbag will do is help prevent that shifting by locking it in place. Before applying your airbags, make sure the forklift is safely parked. Place it in neutral, apply your parking brake, and you can also turn off the ignition. Before stepping off your forklift, you can remove the hose, turn on the power switch, step off the lift, and grab an airbag. As you approach the void, you can size it up to make sure that this airbag will be applied properly. Place it in the void, getting some pallet contact as well, not just freight contact, if possible. Install the hose. Begin to fill the bag. As you can tell, the pallet is being pushed up against the wall in order to lock the load in place. I then can remove my hose. But if air is being released after I remove this hose, I probably have a used airbag, and I need to make sure that the valve is locked in place. Right now, it has been depressed and turned to the right, and that's why it's releasing the air. What we'll do is turn it to the left, allowing the valve to lock in place in the closed position, and then I can reapply the air with confidence that it won't be released. If for some reason your airbag still will not hold air, then it will be time to dispose of that airbag. If the airbag has been installed properly, you should not be able to pull it out of the void that you just filled. That load is locked in place. Now, if you look at this pallet deck, there's still a void that is in this top loaded freight. So what that means is there's still opportunity for shifting. What I will do is grab another bag, make sure my valve is in the locked, closed position, lock my hose in place, and finish building my bulkhead wall. By doing this, you're not just filling a void, you're actually tightening the load, which is what will secure this freight in the event of hard braking. You should not be able to pull this bag out once it is properly locked in place. If the bag can be pulled out, then you need to figure out a better way to reapply. That may require some additional dunnage in order to fill the void, so this size bag will work. As you build these bulkhead walls, it's best to do that every third portion of the trailer, but especially at the rear of the trailer. By doing that, you're tightening the load not just at the point of application, but for every piece of freight that's loaded in front of it as well. Some of the most common parts that may need to be replaced will be this tip. It can become crushed or damaged just from dragging. That's why we want to make sure that we roll this up properly. However, if for some reason this tip is not locking in and allowing the air to flow, then it can be ordered and replaced. Hoses can be reordered and replaced. These pumps have a 12-month replacement warranty. It's very important that any mechanical issues or operational issues or parts replacement opportunities, when they occur, we need to make sure that we report that to leadership as soon as possible, so that way we can continue to use this investment. There's a couple of different ways that you can roll up this hose properly so that way it doesn't drag while you're driving around on your lift. But you can start with the hose end and begin to roll it up and place on the hanger, locking it in place.